Okay, year 8, so we're just going to continue drawing our parts. So we should have now drawn our cab, our trailer with the rounded edges on, our cab base, and then obviously there's the tutorial as well for the trailer base. If you haven't done that, I think that's tutorial 11. That's a fairly simple, it's only a rectangle, so that shouldn't take too long. This tutorial is basically going to be looking at covering and drawing this sort of wheel support, the rear wheel support here. So if we think about it, we're going to have to start off with a rectangle 45mm by 20, and then we'll look at cutting off the edges and drilling the hole. So we'll make a start on that. So in Onshape, we'll just go to create new document. We'll call it trailer wheel support. Again, it's a relatively straightforward piece, this. Again, new sketch. It's been a while since we've done it. I'm actually going to draw it on the front plane this time rather than on the top plane, just so it's in the right orientation from us. So I'm going to hover over, left click, and I'm also going to actually change the orientation. So I'm going to click on this little icon over in the corner. I'm going to click and you'll see you'll get a front-on view of where you're drawing. I'm going to start off with a centre point rectangle. So select that, start in the origin, and then I'm just going to drag out that rectangle to start with, and then dimension it. So as we said, we want it to be 45mm long, 20mm high. That's the basic shape of it. Again, we could have drawn this actually as the shape. I think it's easier to always start as a rectangle, like we would actually as if we made it. That's the way I tend to do CAD work, is start off with the sort of basic shape and then cut off sections. So we'll stick with that, happy with that, 45mm by 20mm. We're then going to extrude that, so click on the extrude button, select the sketch, and we want it to be extruded 15mm. Obviously it's a bit hard in this view to see that, so again I'm just going to come off and just drag it out so you can see that it is extruding it. So I've just used my right mouse button to rotate that, but you can see that's working fine, and then click the tick box there. Okay, once we've done that, we're then going to add the hole in. So again, click on the front face. We're then going to go to centre point circle. Again, you could zoom in. Again, if you prefer to, you could click on this front view. Sometimes a little bit easier. And we're going to select right on the origin there again, so right where these two work planes intersect. Drag out the circle. You can see I've made it a lot bigger than it needs to be, but I'm going to redimension it and change that to 4mm. So we've got that there. Happy with that. Click on that. Again, extrude. This time I'm going to remove it, so we need to click on the removed icon. Again, I'm just going to rotate it so you can see. Click on the sketch. Remember, when you're doing that, that'll extrude the entire face. We need to be right on the inside of the circle, so only the circle is selected. And this time, again, we could just type in 15mm here, but one of the options we can do to save us even worrying about how thick things are is click on this little arrow next to blind, and we can just create a through all hole. So you'll see that then quite simply produces that hole through there. Okay, last little part is to cut off these corners. Again, we could do this a number of different ways. You know, in theory, I could actually sketch this, so I could produce that sketch. Again, I'll go to front view. I could actually then draw on, you know, using the corner. I could draw on the triangle and dimension that 10mm in. So I could potentially do it that way. Again, I have no problems with you using that technique. So again, line. Always got to draw a continuous sort of boundary if you like. So again, got to make sure that the entire thing's connected. So I could do that, so draw on the two triangles. Sometimes it gets a bit more complicated when you come to extrude, but I'm happy with that. Don't need to dimension these because it's obviously snapped to the length. Only need that 10mm in dimension, but click on the tick box. Again, then I come to remove. Just going to make it 3D. Again, I'll do through all, and then I'm going to select the triangles themselves, and it will then remove it that way. So that's one technique. Again, I'm quite happy with you to go through that. If I was to, I'm just going to delete that. So again, if you do ever make a mistake, and just right click on it, delete, so I can go back to it. I'm going to delete that initial sketch as well. So again, could just, clicked on work plans there. I could do it a slightly different way. Sometimes people find this a bit easier. I'm going to actually chamfer it. So again, click on the chamfer icon. You'll see normally when we did the chamfer on the first one, we did an equal chamfer. Well, I can actually change that to 2 distances. So again, you'll see if I select that, at the moment it's just a 5mm by 5mm. I can then change that to 20mm. You'll say, oh, what's wrong with this? Oh, I can flip round as well. I can actually change it, save me doing it, and just change it to 20mm by 10mm chamfer. So again, 2 equal. Sometimes you just got to play about with which direction it's doing, or work on the preview. So I can do that. Whilst I'm there, I can actually select both of them. Again, sometimes it's a bit quicker. It's entirely to you. 2 different ways of doing the exact same thing. So however you want to do it. So do it as a standard sketch and cut out the 2 triangles, or you could use the chamfer tool and change it to 2 different distances rather than equal, and your chamfer will be 20mm down, 10mm in. We've got that section. Again, last little stage is to then just create and change the colour. So we'll double click on the blue, change it to our sort of wood looking colour, minimise that back, and then we've got our wheel trailer support, or axle, whatever you want to call it, ready for assembly.